Overwatch. I mean, but this
Okay.
this obviously event is a pretty big deal because you've got to sort of follow up what we saw in Hangzhou at the start of the year and what we saw at EWC. So it's going to be a big event, obviously, to cap the year off, and it's the culmination, I think, of one of my favorite, competitive years of Overwatch. I think EWC gave us just a great temperature test about regional parity coming into our world finals. So I have really high expectations, I think, for all of our regions. I'm psyched for it.
A lot to look forward to, that's for certain. But as we head into our first matchup of today and check out how Sakura have been doing, this is a team where I feel like you look in this matchup up against Team Z, you expect a little bit of an edge up. They've always been kind of fun to watch. I feel like Sakura have definitely had moments where they've definitely taken me by surprise here as well. I've got my eyes on them here, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a bunch of these players in the OWCS in the past, right? I know Netsuki is a player that we've seen a few times throughout the OWCS's lifespan in terms of different teams and whatnot. So excited to see what they can do here against Team Z. And like, they obviously come in the favorite against Team Z. I think Sakura has played a bunch of teams pretty close all throughout. And I mean, this is the absolute must-win game, right? You can't kind of find yourself in that extinction like it's an opportunity for them to kind of firmly get out of that zone here for Sakura. So I expect them to come forward with like their best offering here today.
I think that like Sakura sit at the top of the tier break here, just on the sort of lower side of it in NA. Looking forward to see what this team can provide for us. Extent, she might actually be in the roster today. We've actually seen more of PDK alongside Somba. And this is a team that, as you saw in those clips, leans into those Zarya compositions pretty heavily. It was like PDK on the Cassidy, Zeb on the Zarya. But if X10 starting in the lineup today, we might see something a little bit of a different flavor. But I do think this team have been hoping to punch up a little bit. Team Z, on the other hand, are trying to avoid that relegation. We discussed that, I think, a fair bit. They kind of got two chances at it, Ash. A win here is massive. It takes them up to 2 wins, but they also have a matchup against Team Z at the end of this stage that could put them ahead of them in their head-to-head and thereby spare them from that relegation zone and actually give them a crack at playoffs here. So potentially there lies a lot of opportunities for development and improvement in front of this team. They want to have a seat at the table. They want to be in these matches. And yeah, it's time to see which of these two teams really wants to break free of that relegation threat and be a factor in playoffs today.
That is for certain. Both these teams kind of had a front heavy loaded schedule there, right? Especially for Team Z, and things get a little bit easier as it goes on, but they are still looking to definitely prove themselves. As far as the fact that we do have that expectation for Sakura to have a little bit of that edge up, Matt, what do you expect out of Team Z today for something that maybe they can pull as far as like bans or like map picks that might give them a little bit more of an advantage?
I don't know if there's anything in terms of like the map picks or the bans that kind of like swing their way potentially, but we've watched Ryan have like some crazy games on Tracer in the past and like being able to kind of like take over a lobby where like kind of protect that at all costs, try and kind of get him going on that, because yeah, I mean, we've seen him being able to kind of like dominate games solo. So that's what I would look at if I was Team Z, trying to get him in a position to really pop off.
Well, we're not going to have to wait too much longer because we're going to get into our first matchup of NA OWCS straight away. You guys, take it away.
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's waste no time in getting into this game. There's a lot to be decided here between Sakura and Team Z. And without harping on it, obviously, we were hoping last week that was the real test of Sakura, the question of whether they could punch up and try and break into that top 4. It was a matchup against Nightmare that didn't see them fare very well, right? They don't get any flashpoints on Suravasa, so they look, pretty, they struggle, I think, on that control map as well. So bear that in mind here. We have our hero bans that come out. Mercy going to be banned here by Sakura, and Reaper obviously taken away. This Reaper obviously definitely something that features more heavily in these front lines and can be pretty problematic for a lot of those bulkier tanks that maybe rely on just their size to create that space. But a first ban Mercy here from
it's like a protect, right? I mean, you're trying to protect like a support. I mean, you're not kind of burning your first ban on a Mercy. I mean, how many years back would we have to go to be like, that would be like a real ban? It feels like Mercy's been in some trouble for a bit.
Yeah, you can play obviously with the anniversary in game. You can play classic and you can throw it back to the old mass res era of Mercy, which is an eye opener. We've come a long way, I think, in terms of the game, but. Likely, we talked about this before, this sort of strategy. We've been pretty critical about it in the EU, was like, spending that first ban on a protect here. But when you come onto Samoa, a lesser played map, we see it a bit more in NA. It makes sense to try and just secure the integrity.
To clarify, though, I think we've been critical of certain teams not going to say a specific team using all of their bans across all of their maps to protect supports.
I'm actually a D1 hater. Like, it is crazy.
Using one ban to protect a support for the first game is not a bad strategy. Now, if Sakura were to spend 40 maps over the course of a stage protecting supports, then I would probably have some questions about it, like we do in EMEA. But a protector at the start, not the worst thing.
Yeah, you should be a diplomat, Matt. You put that quite succinctly. So we've expected to see Zarya here from Sakura. In general, Team Z look like they're going to reciprocate. So Zarya Mirror potentially extend. She's going to be on the Cassidy here, so very much just picking up the role of a PDK. And we'll see how it plays out with the sim in play. Still, just to get people out of spawn. We've seen it attempted on a couple of occasions, even with a nerf to that TP length, but Tracer is just too good to go past here as we head downtown.
Yeah, we'll see how XN she does against Ryan, right? I talked about Ryan and kind of like the Tracer play, but XN, she's a fantastic hit scan player. So seeing her on the Cassidy here at the start, that's a lot of damage on Astro. They just get bullied back. I mean, look, if you're getting rid of Ryan early, and I think you see kind of how things are going to go, it's going to be Sakura looking like a really dominant first fight.
And look, when your Zarya is turned around, being forced to use all their bubbles and has to run for a mega health pack, you are making no space for the rest of your team. It was all too easy for Sakura just to pull up on the rest of Team Z and flatten them when their tank was literally turning and running away. So now they can play forward, of course. Extension can make use of that car for cover, and here we go. Just burn the barriers, push up. Full charge Zeb. He is ready to roll.
Well, and you notice Zeb put some damage around the corner, and like all of the bubbles gone right away from Astro, and then like they end up using a Suzu so early, and at that time for Sakura, you're just like, all right, let's just fly around the corner. Like there's really nothing that's going to keep Astro alive. This two really quick fights for Sakura Esports. Mitch, 23% of the chat riding with Team Z. They must be trying to make some channel points back on a bad pick earlier on. It seems like that's kind of what's going on there, because Sakura, you definitely would have said like, oh, a pretty large favorite.
Definitely favored. Yeah, and we're probably going to realize that there is levels to maybe the tier breaks here from 5th place downward. Astro, they need to be able to get into this fight and actually have bubbles to burn, but again, it's
so low.
It's a Suzu they get, but Astro's not really able to do too much to assist the rest of teams in that position. Ryan straight up loses. X10, she just likely connects a grenade there. An easy pickup on the Tracer. Team Z very split, very staggered, and it's going to take them a hot minute to get all their ducks in a row again.
Well, because by the time they get Astro in position, there's no bubbles left, there's no Suzu left, and then all you see with the Zarya is getting close to the point and then just having to hightail it all the way out, right? Really, there hasn't been a fight here, like, from Team Z that's kind of like, forced Sakura to kind of like act a little bit. Not a lot of ultimates. Here's going to be XN. She's going to pop the dead eye here. Just going to buy some time, push some players back.
Typical snowball scenario here. Now that grenade, I'm not sure if that quite connects, but it still provokes a bubble and a slide out from the Sojourn. Here comes that Kitsune rush. Sakura Esports want to lead into the advantage they have, but Sommer's been taken out. Is at the cost of Astro, though, which is likely more than Team Z can bear. They get a flip behind the play. Looks like Ryan's able to get up there and regain control. But Sakura, despite losing a player, don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. It's been up-tempo as soon as the gates have opened, and just to his no business being here. What is that? Graviton surge. Catches 3, by the way.
Down.
Oh, it's over. It's actually cooked this round. Cinnabar down. Zeb's going to be traded off, though, as they try to end the round by throwing that grab in. Astro will try and pop himself up, get there for the fight, but they're a little bit too late.
Not a great start here for Team Z, Mitch. I gotta say, I think Sakura looks really good playing this Zarya. They're doing a nice job of forcing the bubbles out, right away, and then even like Hanbei Suzu. So Astro, no bubbles, no Suzu, no way you're gonna be able to kind of get this Zarya in a position where the Zarya can battle up against Zeb Zarya, right? Kind of standing toe-to-toe as a Zarya with no bubbles and no kind of cooldowns versus the other side is, that's a 2-death round there from Sakura. So a really nice start from them.
And you can see how those control rounds, they time out such that if the team gets their first cap and wins the next couple of fights, but once you get to 80%, they've got all their ultimates online, and they are just going to spend them to deterministically, in some cases, win that final fight. Team Z need to get a foothold in this round early, and it all comes down to positioning. Astro got caught, or at least had their resources burned very, very early in that first fight. that last round. This time, slower approach for Team Z, but you know it only takes a sniff of the cheese to get Sakura to go up tempo, and here we go straight away. They're going to push on in. Ryan has to back away. Recaller, they do want to spend it, so priority for Sakura, but no kills yet.
Well, they just forced them back so easily, right? It was one where Team Z looked like they had some position, like being able to kind of get spots on the point. And Sakura, as soon as they speed boost him, move in with Zip, everybody on Team Z just kind of hightails it, and they give up that position. As now it those seems like Sakura, they back up a little bit. Astro will find X10 if she falls, where now they actually get that position back. They're quite fortunate there, though, right? Because like when Sakura goes in and forces Team Z basically all the way back to their choke, there's a world in which they kind of just like hold serve there, Sakura, and just kind of don't actually give that position back up and fall all the way back towards that left side high ground, and they're able to kind of lock them in this part of the map.
It's clear Team Z prefer a slower pace. If they get to dictate, you know, that kind of speed, then they look a little bit more comfortable in these fights. They got to keep pick off on X10 though, and there it is. Jutsu nails Z's just after they get a Kitsune Rush in play. Sakura now have to try and make use of this, but the fight falling further and further apart. That being said, Astro gets rounded on by Zeb, taking the Zaya out of the picture is big, but Ryan is going to work. Great cleanup here on the Tracer. Zeb's attempting a cap, and we'll have both bubbles here for this fight with 70 charge, and the backup of Natsuki means that Sakura get a flip.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to fight that. They get the Kitsune Rush down there for Sakura, right at the starts of Z's. They drop it right before they end up getting taken out by Jutsu, and it's just enough where they're able to fight inside of it. Zeb ends up getting 2, and then there's no way you're going to challenge that charged up Zarya on the point. So Ryan now trying to put some pressure on this left-hand side.
Team Z have so much to work with in this fight. Ryan holding back onto the pulse bomb. Disrupt the shot there, noted as Jutsu's trying to make a little bit more space for themselves, but Team Z holding onto the beat. They get a flip essentially for free. And Sakura, having used their rush in the previous fight, don't have a beat quite yet. X10 is trying to clear some space with his Deadeye, and as the pulse dropped in, they're able to avoid it, of course. Still pretty speedy inside that Deadeye, and there it is. Around the corner comes Zaya. Ryan with the kill credit. Zeb's been able to take the Sojourn out of the fight, but this is still percentage that's being accrued by Team Z, and a clean flip is needed. Cinnabar, sound barrier deployed now. Zomba flattened, and Hanbei's able to find a quick couple kunais to keep Team Z in the hot seat.
Yeah, Cinnabar, her sound barrier ends up kind of saving them there, right? It's a sound barrier that connects with 3, so you keep Astro alive, because even though Sakura Esports, they lose the first player in the fight, they were able to come around the corner. They're like actually a bit of a healthier team at the moment than they find 2, but Team Z behind that sound barrier ends up battling back. So they actually are in a pretty good spot here. Mitch, right? 70% grab available, so they're gonna have to, although I say that, Sakura, I mean, look at that. They have both support ultimates. It's gonna be a long-range grab. Yet again, it's gonna be the sound barrier here connecting from Natsuki. That's a good one. It's gonna connect on everybody.
Yeah, and Zeb basically had to follow up on his own grab. There was a Suzu deployed by Hanbei to try and protect the 3 players from Team Z caught in it, but the Zarya damage cut through and at least removed the Kiriko. That's enough at least for Sakura to go on with. And now, the wind blows in their favor for a time, of course, with their own Kiriko ultimate ready. Notice that they're trying to draw the battle line pretty far forward inside this room, and Zeb's already sitting on that 50 charge. I think eyes are on Ryan here to get into the backline and sow some discord.
Oh, no, they actually also, that's a really nice play there. They actually force the Kiri TP, and they know exactly kind of where it's going, so they force kind of out from Hanbei. Hanbei kind of goes over towards that left-hand side, then they push on forward, and even though they give up a player there early on, they're still able to push on forward. And I think if you're Sakura, you need to just kind of play this fast pace throughout the entire series, right? Like I think you mentioned, like Team Z seems pretty comfortable when the pace starts to slow down a little bit.
And now, this puts Sakura in the lead, potentially. Serving this map up for them on a silver platter. Team Z have to come on in now and try and wrest control away. They're going to attempt to do it through the mid part of the map. It's already recalled Bird very early in the fight. Pulse bomb Suzu'd off. Hanbei at least able to inoculate the Sojo and form that. But Jutsu is low and has been low. Kitsune Rush going to be thrown out. Hanbei's got to be careful swinging out towards that angle. And Astro was looking for someone to fight. But a very keen disengage from Sakura allows for a flip back. And now it's their turn to try and reach for the point.
Oh, nice Deadeye there from X, and she kind of finds Ryan, and it also forces them back a little bit. So this is going to be a flip back, but they go so far back away, Mitch. Like, who's going to be here to contest? Now, Asher trying to work around that other side and doesn't make it. And Cinnabar, she's not able to get there either, and that'll be a Sakura Esports win in the first map.
Not a bad start in that second round for Team Z. Obviously, they get off to the races, and Ryan's able to clean up some fights really well. But the Zarya play from Zeb's been excellent. Also notice that Jutsu spends most of that last fight at like 40 to 60 health, and desperately Hanbei's trying to keep the Sojourn topped up. Cassidy obviously working within optimal range there, and no surprise that X10 comes away with 12 eliminations here and a strong showing overall. Honestly, these two teams feel like they are in position to throw down, in a pretty convincing fashion, but Sakura cut above so far after that first map and looked more comfortable in this Zarya comp.
And I wonder if there is a map that Team Z can kind of take us to that you can actually play a little bit of a slower pace, right? I'm thinking maybe you play something like a hybrid, right? As we move forward. This first round, though, I mean, this is all Sakura. I think they did a really nice job putting pressure onto Astro, forcing out all those cooldowns. And there's nothing that Team Z could do to kind of keep that Zarya up.
Ever since the advent of control maps, that sort of snowball aspect has been a feature, right? Other maps you can sort of come back and you can regain some of that tempo when you're behind in ult economy and make your way back in. But here it's pretty unforgiving if you don't get a successful fight throughout the round as the team that's sort of, on the back foot. Here, that things look much better. I mean, this is a sound barrier here from Cinnabar that they end up turning into a fight win, even though it breaks down pretty close. Zeb obviously is also able to spend some fights like this one. Notice that they're pretty much the only one going after that grab. Hanbei was picked off despite the Suzu use, and getting rid of Astro first has been pretty high priority here for Sakura Esports once those, those bubbles have been exhausted.
Yeah, they get the kill on Orion there with X10 with her Deadeye, and then I believe she was also actually stuck, so I think a bubble actually ends up kind of saving her there from Zeb, and then just kind of pushing on forward, and Team Z moves so far back, there's no way they're actually even kind of getting closer to the point. And you see the stats actually, so round one was clearly a blowout, but round two much closer. The stats don't really reflect that because round one was so lopsided, but Team Z played much better in that second round.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's control. It's unforgiving, and you don't always have the space to pivot back, into the front in some of those scenarios. So tough for them, of course, but that's that's the way, rather. Sometimes Samoa can break for you. Looking towards the rest of the series, I'm curious about what the ban strategy specifically for Sakura is going to be, because a Mercy ban on a control map means they very obviously wanted to preserve that Lucio Kira backline. That was just where they wanted to be. They didn't want to risk having that interrupted. And these are also, as a side note, two teams that probably scrim against each other with regularity, right? They occupy a similar place on our OWCS ladder here. So likely trying to get in as much scrim time against each other as possible. But so far, everything seems to be running pretty smoothly. Right. I think the Cassidy play alongside the Trace plays look really good on this side. I think that Natsuki's had some pretty key beats as well. So this comp looks good. But what about the rest of them? Are we going to see young comps sort of mixed in? One thing I love about NA and something to look forward to about the GK matchup, of course, is some of the fruity backlines they throw together, like the Lifeweaver Wu Young. So plenty of opportunity for that as it's Team Z's map kick. It's King's Row locked in.
And I like this. This is what I was talking about, right? Picking a hybrid map, getting that kind of like offensive defensive side, kind of swapping, right? Play a little bit slower potentially in that kind of formula, especially compared to like a flashpoint or a push, where maybe you kind of get rid of Lucio here, right? And you kind of like really slow the game down, especially because I look like Jutsu wanted to play a lot of the Soj, right? So being able to play some Sojourn, especially on the high grounds here, could be beneficial for King's Row. So I like the pick.
It's not uncommon as well to see like the Sojourn on on Samoa. It's very reasonable, right? But sometimes it can feel a little constricted on Volcano when you're playing against Cassidy and Kiriko. When you're trying to perch up, you want some high ground and you get poked down pretty effortlessly by them. And especially when, the other team's Cassidy wants to play aggressively because they're getting Zarya bubbled, they can come forward. It's not like it's a Zarya and a Genji comp where Genji's always a recipient of that first bubble, goes forward, gets charged. Now you can let the Cassidy close into his optimal range with a bubble, maybe stave off that first shot that comes in from a Sojourn and have a favored engagement where you can get that flashbang in there, hinder the Sojourn, make it hard for her to slide away, and then if she gets flanked by the rest of your team.
I mean, even for a Tracer, right? Trying to play into that like Zarya Cassidy on the other side where you're trying to go for pulse bombs and it's like, the bubbles coming in, right? You're dealing with a Cassidy with a bubble and mag grenade. Like it's very difficult to navigate that. So Team Z, they actually get rid of the Sim here early on. And then Sakura, they'll get rid of Winston. So want to get rid of the Winston. Winston's pretty good on King's Row, especially like early on, being able to kind of control some of those high grounds. So getting rid of the Winston, and then the Sim pick. I mean, Sim is obviously good here on King's Row. It doesn't feel like even if Sakura brought in the Sim, like that's kind of the biggest potential worry from them, right? I think it's just the pace of the game, and obviously Sim can do change a little bit of the pace of the game, obviously with the TPs and closing distance and stuff, but at least for me, off those bans, it feels like Sakura's going to come in with the same mentality, right? Of using that Lucio and just kind of running them down.
Yeah, I think like Lucio Kiri backline is very reasonable still for this team. Obviously, we've seen a lot of rosters trend in that Wooyoung direction, but sometimes the adoption rate can be a little bit slow. Wooyoung probably at the most powerful he's ever going to be in this game, and it's definitely that damage output that is really quite spectacular presently, and also the way that it influences Wooyoung's passive healing with the right perk choice. So a lot of teams going that way, but Lucio Kiriko is very, very solid for a reason, and it gives you that access, of course, to like a team-wide defensive ultimate, which is an amazing panic button in a lot of scenarios, and a very good response to getting grabbed if we do end up getting Zarya's on this map, which is something we see a lot, especially over in EMEA. You know, sometimes like, you don't want to go for that selfish backline that doesn't have like a sort of a fortifying ultimate.
And there were some long range grabs in the first map. I mean,
it was
way downtown. Yeah, it was starting to get a little silly there for a second, but I think so I mean, you would typically see some diva here, right? But if teams are kind of trending more towards some Zarya type of action, obviously not going to see that. So curious really what Team Z's thought process is here, and what they're gonna go with, where at least off the start, it looks like Team Z, they'll be on offense. So Sakura Esports, the XN, she'll stay in the game and she'll pick up the Reaper. So this is a comp that's going to be even more deadly with the Zarya in the mix, right? Like if there's a lot of pressure early on, now XN off of the Cassidy and she's onto the Reaper with those bubbles and just kind of getting into the mix. Astro's probably going to have to play something different, obviously, than the Zarya to stay alive.
Well, I think also Team Z need to make use of mobility here. Sakura Esports comp rather is not that slow. When speed boost is in the mix, they want to rush you down once you get close enough, and they'll probably, we'll see if they try and hide the Reaper at all to start with. Right out of the gates early with the Widow, just a little peek over the top, and we're back to business. Ramatra here for Team Z. Some of the power shifted away from some of those perks, but still obviously can heal inside the Vortex, and also with that extra poke damage from that
is the survivability going to be enough though? Like old Ramatra, right, where you could just like block and just live forever?
Is the Reaper
probably, but like how are you going to kind of fight this Zarya Reaper right up head to head as you see some of the armor going away from Astro?
I like this push up from Astro. I mean, mindful that cooldowns are something that have to be played around, so it's Zarya Bubbles and the Reaper Wraithwalk. If you can time your aggression in those windows to try and get space, then you'd be in good shape. Unfortunately, straight into the backline, X10 went. She wasted no time in coming back from that Wraithwalk and wrapping through the hotel to get some kills. So, Team Z, yeah, this is going to be tough. They definitely need their Sojourn to get a good vantage point.
Astro on the Ram as well, like, you can do a lot of good poking with the Ram, just kind of like the, his staff damage, but really you want to get him in Nemesis form in the mix. And I don't think this is a comp that you exactly want to kind of like pop that Nemesis form and kind of chase targets down, because there's a lot of mobility with the back line. Obviously, Reaper Tracer, a ton of mobility there, and then protection from the Zarya, and then just kind of that ramping down. Oh, that is filthy stuff. That is due.
Oh my god, there might be more where that came from.
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, yeah, remember that crit multiplier on those kunais is higher than for other heroes, and the damage fall-off isn't that bad. Pretty ridiculous stuff there from Aziz, but I think that normally this Ramatra command wants to probably walk past the Zarya frontline, not give it the charge, and go for the squishy underbelly. But when Reaper's there, you cannot get to the backline without taking.
You can't ignore the Reaper.
And if you pop Nemesis form, the Zarya bubbles up, gets in your way, and the Reaper just shoots you. So they can answer you in that window where you're supposed to be more powerful. They have cooldowns to match you and ideally prevent you from getting in their backline at all.
And look at XN, she's got bubbles up there on the high ground, just kind of controlling it. They're kind of forcing these players into this side alley, or at least trying to capture some of them there. As okay, they finally do get rid of XN. She was up on the high ground for a while. They're going to actually use this rush here and try and fight out of it, as Astro taking lots of damage here.
Oh, Hanbei, beautiful picks here. Astro, though, able to be dragged down eventually. But Ryan has found an important pick off now in terms of the Lucio. That means Zeb, I need to use this last bubble very judiciously. It's Jutsu going down. Someone might actually be able to stall this out a little bit. There will be reinforcements in time. There's a Tracer, Zarya, and a Reaper here for Sakura, and a Death Blossom. X10 will get herself a bubble here and try and come forward, but she's not in position to make use of that Blossom. But it's enough here to at least create some space, ideally give you a foothold to get back in, but Sakura have to move fast here, Matt.
Yeah, they're waiting for Netsuki's sound barrier here. It's going to be Netsuki using coming around the corner with the grab in the mix.
Okay, and you get the Lucio for that. I think that's probably worthwhile. Team Z committed their sound barrier to this effect, and it wasn't enough. X10 gets herself into the backline, and now that Annihilation is in play for the Ramatra, but it's being respected. It's not really enough on its own to drag Sakura down, and we are within the last minute of this attack half. Yes, it's 2 ticks and change, but Team Z have not been able to finish the job, and now they've burned through their support ultimates.
Yeah, you burn through the support ultimates. There's still a Death Blossom available here for Sakura as well, as I thought they did a really nice job just kind of backing off that point, being patient, right? Getting X10 back in the fight. She comes back. You get Natsuki off the spawn. Nice use of the sound barrier, and then go back and recontest.
X10 wants to avoid getting picked off early. She might be a little caught in this corner though, waiting for those cooldowns to refresh, and the bubble assisting with that. Now Jutsu's going to come in with the overclock, a big hit onto Zeb already. There aren't enough bubbles in the world to save Sakura now. Zeb is down. Jutsu's able to wrap around towards the backside of the point here, and X10's Death Blossom might just have to be used in a bit of a panic. Again, Sakura don't have the space to give this kind of room. It was already 2 ticks and change, and so now the point is flipped. They weren't on it. And Team Z will be able to get on the road.
Yeah, Zamba is on it, just kind of contesting for a little bit, but nobody else from Sakura able to get there when Zamba steps off of the point. So at the final moments, right, Team Z kind of keeps themselves alive. They'll continue to run the Ram here into the second part of the map, but a pretty good defense there from Sakura, burning almost the entire clock.
I mean, whichever way you slice it, it's good time for the defense side.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the Death Blossom that never was will have a great opportunity to be effective in this part of the map. But it's Casino Rush that has to be reckoned with first for Sakura. So they throw out one of their own. They disengage to some degree. That's Wraithwalk for X10. Zomba might be able to drop in here and deploy some supplies. But the Reaper's down yet again. Astra's able to find in the front line, but too much of Ramatra's health is given up in order to get the Reaper. Well, now as Team Z have lost their tank, and Zeb is, well, suffice to say, they're living their best life.
Well, it's also unfortunate for Team Z, right? You end up using the Kitsune Rush, and Ramatra, like, it's one of the best ultimates, the kind of combo where Ramatra can end up fighting inside of that Kitsune Rush. So you lose all of the benefits out of that. Sakura ends up pushing out on through it as let's do a listen in here with Team Z, see if they can get through this choke.
3, 2, 1. Slip top. Slip back.
Start running close. I'm behind them.
Ripper, they're flipping.
Cure off.
Trying our team. There we go.
Cure one. This is it.
Go on. Walking forward, Reaper behind.
Cure inside books. Yeah. Cure off.
3-1, run.
Really one.
Run.
Or someone go Reaper. Please, I'm begging. I'm going Zarya. Someone needs to get Reaper.
I guess. All right.
Someone go Reaper. I don't care who it is.
We
Please.
never played it. That's fine.
Don't care, bro. Don't care. Just play it.
Alright. They use their Reaper now. They're gonna have crowd.
They're down for now. Can we just block? Can bubble?
I'm taking this side.
Yeah, bubble you.
I'm very cool.
Reaper TP in.
River tip it in. Run.
99B, puck me.
Bolting him.
Open it.
3-1.
Run.
Reaper won it.
Run on the point.
Come back, beat it.
Well, Jutsu, welcome to Reaper.
That had shades of please kill Kumat, please. Like where it was like anybody, please look at the Reaper.
That was an interesting snippet to catch there from Team Z.
Yeah.
And obviously, they felt themselves struggling against the Reaper. X10 was able to drop in behind him, take most of her health and damage, get a sound barrier from Natsuki, and then Sakura could double down after the Reaper emerged the Wraithwalk and take a fight. This aggressive, very hostile frontline setup against an arguably slower moving Ramatra team comp is a struggle for Team Z, and they have to go to a last resort of switching into Reaper, but it's too late. Astro switches to Zarya as well, but that probably has to have happened a minute prior at least.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it obviously before we went into the listen it, but Xen, she's on the Reaper, just got to go crazy, and you could tell nobody was really focusing the Reaper, and then from Team Z's perspective, yes, that seemed to be accurate. As now they'll actually just max
I've
the Reaper.
never played it. Don't care, bro. Just
Yeah, if you ever thought your comms in ranked are a little bit different than the OWCS, maybe not. Maybe they're not. Maybe sometimes like, hey, you go Genji. I've never played that. Oh well, who cares? Just do it. Like
even teams at this level have to make these improvisations if things aren't going well. I think Team Z's take on the metagame, I suppose this required them to make some sort of switch ups. I guess they're sort of on the fly. They're figuring out that the Sojourn is not going to get the job done. Now on defense, Jutsu going to be on the Reaper. I don't believe they've never played it. Of course, they've got experience on this hero, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much they've screamed with it.
But also, is the answer Reaper? Like, I don't think the answer is to like necessarily match Reaper. So we'll see if it works out for Jutsu and Team Z.
Okay. X10 aware there are interlopers above. Bubble here popped instantly. Jutsu, of course, has the Wraith Walk to get away. X10 doesn't have the health to pursue this, and so she's just going to hold this space behind the telephone box, but we'll need pretty active healing, I think it's safe to say. Sakura already moving in here.
Well, look how
One
much
tick
space
and
they got
more.
already.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to give a lot of room. Teams here trying to play from the edges and the fringes and work their way in with this Reaper, but the bubbles are getting blown through. That does give a lot of charge to Astro, in fairness, but the Zaya's being avoided. X10's able to TP back behind them. Ryan down, Cinnabar falling. I think that's going to be the death knell here for Team Z. Sakura Esports are too much, at least, on this first point, and so they'll get the chance to try and match that payload push total from Team Z, and they get it done much quicker.
Yeah, the rough part for Team Z will probably be that for the next fight, right? Sakura Esports Z will end up having a Kitsune Rush, X and she'll end up having a Death Blossom, and then you're kind of like in this streets type of phase, right? It's a really dire scenario here for Team Z, especially with over 5 minutes on the clock here for Sakura Esports. So really, I mean, for Team Z, you're hoping like you get like an actual good last fight, but seeing where the payload is and seeing obviously everybody coming off a respawn, it might just be kind of throwing your body. That's gonna be the recall burn right away.
X10 probably picks up the mega health pack quicker than she would have liked to, so only takes a little bit of damage, and now that's gone. She's gonna get out of there, but just okay. Deep in enemy territory. Z is down though. There's no Kiriko for Sakura, but Death Blossom coming around the corner. We've got a pulse bomb. Zomba, pretty hard to keep track of, but that's a bubble that has to be used there just to keep Cinnabar in the game, and it's at the cost of Astro. It's all falling apart. The House of Cards is in shambles for Team Z, as it'll be X10 and Zev sat on the car with all their mates, and that'll be a comfortable take of Kings Row.
I just don't think you can like expect to just select the Reaper and just kind of match and just play that. You can kind of see even from Jutsu's POV there towards the end, like TPing all the way in, like having to burn the Wraith Walk just to kind of get back, doesn't actually make it out, where there's a lot more to it than just kind of TPing into the backline, getting a bubble and just kind of going crazy, where Zev and X10 though leading the charge here for Sakura, looking to put away Team Z in actually pretty commanding fashion, right? We had that second round on Samoa, which was quite close, but other than that, it's really been all Sakura Esports.
I mean, Zomba is being able to do a heck of a lot in this game, and there's only one death, I think, for Zeb over the course of the game. So the game plan of trying to overwhelm the Zarya, draw out those bubbles over time, and then flatten her when she has no defensive resources available, didn't work out for Team Z. There's a lot to juggle. You've got to deal with the Zarya bubbles. They could be used on Zarya or someone else, and this takes time, right? You've got to exhaust her of those resources, but in the meantime, X10 is, ramming a Hellfire shotgun up your nose and forcing you to answer the threat of the Reaper, constantly forcing you to turn around. And we heard the comms, like, I'm not going to mince words. Team Z definitely looked frustrated. They sounded frustrated, and they sounded a little bit taken aback here by, once again,
you got the vibe that they were frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't.
I mean,
that.
a bit of bickering.
No, they seemed extremely frustrated. Yes, where it is a frustrating comp to play into. Like you're turning one way to deal with the Reaper, who then has a bubble, and then you turn the other way, and there's a full charge Zarya chasing you down. The Zarya has a bubble. Like, it just feels like. And I mean, looking at the stats, it definitely kind of reflects that. It's a brutal game to play here for Team Z.
Oh my goodness. Wasn't it?
Man,
that was a short map. 120 eliminations is a lot. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's pretty solid stuff. Obviously, Team Z need to send a Zarya ban at Sakura instantly. If they don't want to play it, or rather, they just don't have as much practice time on the Zarya Reaper setup, probably need to take that away from Zeb. I'd be treating that like a priority heading into the next map.
Yeah, I mean, you should ban like a Zarya, right? You can't obviously recreate the same type of effect, right? But like Diva pairs pretty well with the Reaper as well. If you wanted to like kind of use more of like the DM as the Reaper's using the TP in, then you kind of get everybody in the back line like pretty healthy, protected, and then there's a lot of stuff And then even with if you get rid of the Zarya, right, I guess you can kind of like, they banned the Sim in the last map. There's an opportunity to kind of like bring the Sim into the mix. So an opportunity there that really could spell some trouble there for Team Z.
Substitution here, folks. Peace coming in for Jutsu. This is likely to just maybe widen the hero pool a little bit for Team Z and give them some other options. Obviously, we've known Peace to have hero pool that doesn't overlap that much with Jutsu, so maybe leaning away from that sort of dedicated hit scan presence maybe might also give them another Reaper option. It could just be the Team Z have the substitution set such that they don't have an easy switch to playing Reaper. That might be a factor in this next game. But again, if Zaya's banned, like you mentioned, that opens up the D.Va. Obviously, D.Va doesn't fare that well against Sim in some cases, unless she can run the Sim down. It does make your front line potentially a little squishier if you involve Sim in the gameplay, and it's very map dependent as well. So Watch Point Gibraltar is the pick.
I was going to say, there are some maps that you can go to that this like wouldn't be as big of an issue. Like I was going to say like Junkertown, clearly, right? Like Reaper on Junkertown like isn't exactly a winning scenario. But Gibraltar's another one where you can kind of like play some of that high ground. So we'll see how that kind of goes there with them kind of okay, so Team Z, they'll get rid of the Kiri, and then it's going to be Sakura getting rid of the Genji. So it'll be the Genji ban here for Sakura. So Genji would be a great option.
This is an anti-Peace ban. That's correct.
Yeah. And Genji's a gre's option here, right? Where if let's say you're not going to play a Reaper, but you still want to kind of get somebody up to the high ground that you can use bubbles on, etc. Genji's like one of the better options.
Yeah, I mean, that's super interesting. It's definitely, I think, Peace, we've seen echo from them as well. I swear I've even seen him play the Hanzo. So obviously your bans can come in response to substitutions, right? Or do I have the order correct? Yeah, so you can see a sub coming and then target the player that gets subbed in, which is obviously super interesting.
Or you can keep it simple and just ban supports every game. That's you can do that as well.
Well, teams have been doing it, Matt. Look at this. Wuyang, Kiriko, and Lucio, the most banned heroes.
Wuyang was going to be the most. Every time there's a new hero, it feels like the new hero obviously tuned to see them have great success. So there's going to be a chance that they're going to be banned a bit more than everybody else. Where Kiri, Lucio, though, that's like, I mean, they're the other kind of support, so you're always kind of looking at, right? So we'll see if any of those kind of make it into some of our matches a little bit later in the day, right? Wuyang, though, no surprise here.
Yeah, I mean, very powerful, obviously, and quite desirable to a lot of teams. It's just poke damage that is extremely difficult to do much about, because Wuyang tends to position so safely and still, obviously, as the water droplets, I'll call them, travel a further distance, they reach a max amount, and the splash damage is pretty obscene. So any sort of grouping up can, give a lot of value over to that player. So Genji banned here. We're heading over to Gibraltar. Traces obviously are given here. We were thinking it might be double sort of, flex DPS look from Team Z now after the substitution. This definitely begs the question whether Zeb's going to go Winston, whether it's like you want to take Winston into a potential D.Va matchup here. But I don't know if Zarya would necessarily have that much game on a map like this anyway. It does.
Yeah, this is not a Zarya map.
No. It does beg the question about the sim, though. Might see that worked in.
Yeah, I think you could definitely see the sim worked in. This feels like it's a D.Va Winston type of scenario, right? Utilizing some of that high ground, and I guess you could play the sim with it. Not terrible with that, but it'll probably be what Wuyang. Well, actually, okay. So with the Kiri gone, like you could play Ana here, right? You can play some like Ana Winston potentially, if you wanted. Just trying to fill that like second support slot. Probably you're gonna see like could you see like Wuyang Ana? I think we see that at times in EMEA, although we don't really see Gibraltar as much in EMEA. I think Wuyang you should play the Wuyang here. It'll just be determined on what you kind of play with it. So Team Z hovering over what I was just kind of talking about with the Wuyang and the Ana, and are we gonna get a little Maga action here from Sakura?
Well, you have two very effective carriers of your Tidal Blast virus, don't you? Natsuki can obviously give that off to Zomba, or Zeb can really benefit from that when the fight sort of surrounds them. I don't mind seeing Hanzo. Yes, I did mention this. I wasn't super sure if we'd get it from Team Z here, but obviously their front line wants to avoid at all costs this Malga and really work some poke damage in. Do we get the Simmer if it's just out of spawn? Yeah, gonna be a switch up here. Maybe even Astro considering a change to the Winston. Avoid the Malga at all costs and go for that. But it's looking not a very mobile backline, Matt. Neither Batista or this Wugang have the best anti-dive contingencies.
I think Peace is in spawn. They're deciding what to play potentially. They're still up there on the Hanzo, so we'll see. Yeah, okay. So they decided to come out of the spawn on the Hanzo. The Winston gone already. Astro gonna go to the Diva. I think the Winston to Malga is rough. That's a nice sleep and a bio though that comes through. So they get rid of Zeb. That's huge.
I think the Ana's almost a requirement here, just to, just a bit of healing that Malga obviously generates himself.
Well, there's no cleanse either, right?
Exactly. Like with the Kiriko banned to that effect, and that's maybe sort of why there was no protect ban at the DPS, as was pointed out in chat briefly, to put Peace in the best position for themselves. They're going to be on the Hanzo though, and they did consider what they'd switch, I think, earlier on the round, but they're going to stick to it for the time being. First kill of the game was actually Zombo finding Cinnabar, I think, in the backline. So it is going to be about trying to exploit this less mobile backline. Astro trying to do much the same, though, to Sakura. Natsuki affected by a Bio-Nade, but here's the stop, and Astro surely going to be desuited here. The DM stretched to its very limits. In the space and time that's bought, Peace is able to pick Zombo off as they try and dive the Hanzo.
That's massive that Astro doesn't get demech there. The supports for Team Z keeping Astro alive. You see, now this is a really odd spot here for Sakura to kind of fight out of, as Zeb just kind of makes a rush over there towards the objective, as XN, she'll find one, but she's in a lot of trouble. Everybody chasing these players down into the server room.
Natsuki, I don't know if you want to be here at all. Wow, just committing to the server room fight. Not really where you want to be. Astro stuck with a pulse bomb, but Zombo, well, is blown up by it. So it's really just the Malga here for Zeb. Much of this damage is going to eaten up, denying Zeb that healing from Cardiac Overdrive through the duration of its effect, and then cleaned up. Team Z, nice looks here. Good start. Hanzo getting value.
And I think they should move away from the Malga. Like, okay, so they're going to play the Diva. So this is a great swap, in my opinion, for Sakura Esports. Like, the Malga, especially into this kind of comp that can be pretty mobile, kind of circumvent the Malga with the stomps and whatnot, and then also have the possibility to bio the Malga, so you're getting no value out of the Cardiac Overdrive. I mean, it's just a nasty comp to play into, and now trying to control more of the high ground, the Diva's a much better option here for Sakura.
Okay, shuttle position taken up. Diva mirror, something that we speculated we were likely to see. This now puts a bit more pressure down on Peace. And also Hanbei, in fairness. Natsuki taken out early, though. Cinnabar, maybe that's just poke across the map. It's unclear. Oh, Z affected by the Bio-Nade. Beautifully done. A Dragon Strike, though, gobbled up by Zeb. Not enough, though, to really put Sakura in a commanding position here. It looks like Team Z on Gibraltar have the edge.
I mean, dude, it's another Zik bio there from Hanbei. That time up to the high ground. Z playing the BAP at that moment to drop the Amp Matrix, and then obviously trying to stay alive within it, but hit with a bio. The regen burst obviously doesn't provide anything, and then just ends up falling, and you had already lost Natsuki at that time. So Team Z looking much better here on Gibraltar than they've looked all series.
Thunder Blast on Ryan, and he knockdowns. Yes, Natsuki caught up. Good defense matrix, but it's not enough. Yeah, Zeb not able to cover Natsuki adequately. So this means the snowball is still well and truly underway for Team Z. A very aggressive setup in terms of these supports as well. Nanoboost using that previous fight now. Astro going a little bit low, but space created. X10 has to find a way to break out into the game, but she's brought down by Cinnabar, who beelines for the Sojourner. She drops down. This is almost the second checkpoint for Team Z, and Sakura have struggled to find a foothold in this game. They're on Lucio Ana now, and that's still not been enough. They switch to Brig, perhaps, against Hanzo?
Okay. Where was this Team Z? A little bit earlier.
Well,
they like
Peace was on the bench,
different
bro.
team. Yeah, and I mean, look, getting Hanbei's been really good on the Ana. We're actually going to see Brig from both sides. So Ana Brig on both sides, which I know obviously is like a historically pretty good combination, but this part of the map quite odd. And XN, she's going to go over and play the Freya, so a little bit more high ground control here. But you already see Peace there at range, putting down some serious shots here in Natsuki.
I guess, yeah, look, tough to play Brig into like these really pokey heroes, Hanzo for example, but it's, you know, free whip shot healing against D.Va, especially if the perks that really increase that inspire healing for a longer duration. You get a lot out of it. Zomba has lost in this occasion, in this manner, a couple of times trying to take Peace on. They have been very hard to shift on this Hanzo. After the high ground goes Sakura here, trying to really control this, because if they don't, Peace is going to sit up there and just go to town on them. Dragon Strike, get the ready. Last one negated by Defense Matrix, but Peace looking to find success this time around. At Cinnabar, though, she's caught by a pulse. Zeb runs Peace down. Finally, this is legitimately the first time Sakura Esports have been able to get a foothold and stem the bleed.
And it's a fight win that it starts off pretty poorly, right? When Zomba kind of like blinks into a wall there and Peace able to finish off Zomba, but after that they end up kind of using let's see a nano boost there from Z onto Zeb. Zeb also has to use a self-destruct to be able to stay alive, to get back in the mech, and then just a chase down of some members of Team Z. Team Z though has a nano boost of their own, right? So you think this probably goes over to Astro or maybe even Ryan. If Ryan on board with him now can get in a good position.
And there's a world where if Cinnabar is getting dived, she might get good value out of a nano as well. Okay, X10 starting to edge Peace out in terms of this DPS head-to-head. And again, now that nano goes in Astro's direction. There was a bowler shot though off screen. Hanbei gets caught out. Astro, yes, is free to get aggressive, put this pressure down, but straight back into spawn runs Z. Chilling. Astro here has nothing to do except go off the map and try and reset now under 2 minutes left.
And I think this is where like you're not really getting as much value as the Hanzo, right? Peace earlier, they were getting some really nice pickups, but now that X and she's gotten over to the fray, able to kind of like jump up above some of these sight lines, put some damage down on a Peace. You see Zomba here did get picked off by Peace once, but able to kind of get in position, finish off the Hanzo if need be. So it's going to be some good adjustments here from Sakura. That's going to be a dragon. They actually just kills Natsuki. Must have been playing so close to the corner.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe inside that room there, it's unclear. Nice little dragon strike, but you see the problem with Hanzo right now, completely dove on. Zomba gets aggressive in that direction. No blinks though, just one left. Okay, they pick up a mini. They're going to be good to go. Other health packs, of course, they can try and take advantage of. X10 under pressure. Astro does his job, deals with the Freya. That was very out of position, in fairness. It's so refreshing to see Anna Brig again. Ridiculous as it has been in a couple of scenarios. We are getting closer to yet another bowler shot for X10. Watch that backline for Team Z. If they get hit by that, they're going to crumble. Oh, Pulse! Big one! On base down! Oh, that's devastating. They needed that Anna big time, especially to keep Astro fighting fit. And now Sakura want to go up another gear. Look at this space they've just taken.
And what I'm worried about here for Team Z is Cinnabar, she actually has the rally, but like a bio coming in from Z, just a better position here from the defensive side of things. And Natsuki kind of lurking here with the rally, potentially able to like come around the corner with a shield bash. Could be quite devastating. Looks like they're trying to bait the players in.
One in the back line. Raid boss Natsuki looks like they blocked off the Bionade as well. However, X10's bowler shot got eaten and Z's died to a pulse bomb. So good looks here for Team Z. Now they've got a rally of their own, and Cinnabar knows exactly how to make use of it. Well, at least you think they would. Zomba able to bring her down. Regardless, Sakura up with 4. They have a nano to play with now as Peace is trying to set up here. Pack a health pack, get forward. Self-destruct here for Astro. Hoping to get back in the mix safely. Yep, the aim shot. The bolt explodes, and there's no chance for the D to get going, but Zomba was picked off randomly by that self-destruct. This is utter chaos. Nano for X10. Peace trying to keep the game going, but has to translocate away. There's a touch from Ryan as he comes forward. Natsuki on the chase down, though. No recalls left for Ryan, surely. And now Peace, last one standing, having to translocate in place as Sakura finally figure out how to stop Team Z in their tracks.
Well, I was gonna say, it felt like Team Z was in such firm control through the first 2 parts of the map, right? Now the Malga comp did not really work for Sakura Esports off the start. Team Z makes pretty quick work of them throughout the second phase of the map, and then here towards the end, Sakura puts a few fights together to be able to get a hold right at the end, where pretty rough first half for Sakura overall, but they battle back and they get a hold here towards the end of the map.
I think that Sakura choose a composition that's pretty exploitable to what Team Z were playing, especially because they walked out with the Ana. And we saw immediately that, Zep was struggling on the Malga and also like playing really aggressively. Everyone diving into that server room and getting, gobbled up by Team Z. But X10, as soon as she switched over towards the Freya, feels like the game took on a little bit of a different flavor. Tough for Peace to sit up on those perches and get free damage, and also that kill on Astro before he could remech was a huge momentum killer for Team Z.
What do you think about the Hanzo again here for Peace? They had some really, good moments on the Hanzo, but it started to feel like that Sakura towards the end of the game started to figure it out and like how to kind of, dive and kind of get on top of the Hanzo a bit more.
It's really dangerous against a Diva Tracer, I think. In fairness, for Sakura, it takes time for someone to get in position to harass that Hanzo. Obviously, Tracer lacks that same level of verticality. She needs to take a more circuitous route up onto that higher ground. But yeah, it's honestly pretty tricky. And you're not going to give the Hanzo this amount of space, especially not with a Diva-based composition. So we'll likely see Sakura try and close the gap early and often. As soon as they figure out where Peace is playing, even as Ana's damage, by the way, is significant. It's 70 per shot, so you still have to respect it.
yeah, and a more like, damage output way. That's a bio that actually connects on the Zeb right away, and Z the bio comes in a little bit too late there and doesn't find anybody. But you have to respect the Ana's damage in some aspects, but obviously not the key component of the kit is a few shots there from Exen. She kind of connects with Peace at range, and they're going to be forced to back out.
Just easy to forget. I think sometimes the Ana is hit scan when scoped, so it's reliable damage at extreme distance.
He's in trouble.
I mean, Hanbe's already died, so the lion's share of your healing's already been neutralized now. It's up to Cinnabar. She's got a lot on her plate, and it's far too much to handle.
Well, you could also kind of see from Peace's POV, right? Cinnabar, she had ended up using a few of the packs on the Hanzo to be able to keep Peace alive, and they were not able to stay up. Cinnabar, she has no more healing after to be able to keep anybody up. So that's how Team Z kind of all falls apart.
All right, well, Sakura on time here for a first checkpoint take. Now must be heading to the second phase of the map. Let's tune into the comms and see what the plan is for Sakura to take the shuttle phase or even get this checkpoint.
Break.
We don't need to use anything.
Honestly.
Okay, shoot guys. You're fine.
I'll go shit.
Oh, sorry.
Fair one. Trade low.
We're good.
They have no ults. They're getting nano soon, though. I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
should set up with like Nano Diva or something.
Listen now.
They might go point, by the way.
No, I don't know if I can get.
I
I don't know if I can make it to top shift in time.
You're good. They're not playing. I'm
walking. Winston
under
bottom.
Triple right.
I'm shift. I'm top.
If they sleep, I'll go. Or they, yeah. It's up to them, but.
I got Nano Diva.
On the one. I'm literally free pushing.
Monkey in. Shoot monkey.
Monkey.
I can nade after.
Sorry.
Bring nade. I'm helping you.
They're touching cart now.
Number one, Alex. Nice.
You hear me?
Yeah. On attack, Alex.
Yeah, she's one. Monkey in, on top ship, on top.
I'm living.
Ana's not in the game.
We're living now.
We're peeling this right now, Zeb. We're peeling.
Alex.
Okay. I'm on bomb.
Come back to it. Yeah, I'm fucking you.
I'll drop. No re. Trade.
Shoot guys.
I'm nading their backline when they walk. Look, Trey.
Bottom right.
I'm on the backline. Like one.
Great. Summer step. What? How did she get that off?
There are so many.
You can almost tell when an enemy Diva has self-destruct available when she plays that aggressively. Nicely done by Zeb. I gotta say though, we were on board with Z's early, and they were sort of saying, "Give me some time. I need to obviously walk shuttle." It's Ana. She's not the most ambulant of heroes, but once she's up there, but she's in such a powerful position, and Z's is just nailing shots, even if that bio pulled up short. Very good to get your Ana up in that commanding position.
On Z's, I mean, you see gets high ground here early. I mean, forced to drop down, but some powerful positions already on Ana as above 5 minutes here for Sakura Esports to complete the map. I mean, they're in a fantastic spot. It's going to be a EMP here. It's going to connect with Exen and Natsuki, and Natsuki will fall. Exen, she's able to stay alive, though.
Okay, what can she do from here, though? She's pretty deep in enemy territory now as we see the double back effect, the Tracer, rather, of Zomba towards the cart, handled by Hanbei and Co. 4 minutes and 14 for a map completion here, and this is the series on the line, and it's, Sakura is saying, we are going to be in the playoffs. That is our plan. We are not going to even get a whiff of that relegation zone.
No.
So far, I mean, they've put up the performance that definitely justifies their position in the post stage. But if that's going to be the case, they need to get through this primal rage in this fight, and as they tracked correctly earlier, Hanbei is, verging on yet another nano.
See what Exen decides to do, though. She's got this high ground, right? And you have the bola shot. We saw her connect with a bola shot earlier on to Ryan, but the recall actually ended up taking it out. It's going to be the primal that has to be used by Astro, so they kind of force it out. Zeb's going to get DMAX. I don't think you're going to see any type of progress here. I think for Sakura Esports, you're probably looking at a reset, but you get out the primal there for relatively nothing.
Didn't hate the Sombra switch up there for Team Z, but they've gone now over towards a Freya of their own for Peace. Astro pretty determined to maintain this high ground position. Winston can be a little susceptible to this Freya damage, right? And she can suspend herself in midair for quite an extensive period of time, make it very hard for there to be any sort of dive possibility. Also just riddle the Winston with those explosive bolts and chuck that health down quickly. I had a pulse bomb there on the corner. It looks like it was avoided, likely intended for Cinnabar, who I think is trying to sit there and just play in that position. Now to the backline extend, looking for a bowler shot. Vertically down, stuck with a bolt though. Dangerous position to be in. Bayonne did connect onto Sombra, if I'm not mistaken. Forced maybe a recall out of them, but it's a 1-for-1. Both brings it down now, and Hanbei's looking a lot less comfortable than they were a few minutes ago. Sombra stuck with the bolt as well. Needs to double back for the health pack. The cart not really moving at the moment. Hanbei with the double stick there. X10 almost able to pressure that Ana down, but likely a self-Bayonne to keep them in the fight. And
Zomba's kind of going crazy though.
Running rough shot on the back line, Matt. X10 looking for a little bit more, but Zomba on his own, more than happy to get in there. Now the rest of Sakura has joined up them, including their diva. Teams have one last chance to put this to an end.
Yeah, they'll have a pulse bomb of their own. It's going to be Peace. It's all actually going to be Ryan connecting on Netsuki. And Cinnabar, she's going to end up having a rally here. So I think you're going to be able to hold for Team Z for a period of time. But still, there's above 2 minutes, so you're probably gonna have another attempt or two here for Sakura. You don't have this self-destruct, right? So you have to try and get out. Xen, she might end up falling. Oh, nice defense matrix there from Zeb.
Had the body
able to keep Xen up.
And nicely done for Zeb. But this is probably starting to get a little frustrating. I think the Ana play for Team Z has been solved, and also the Winston, his ability to continuously sit up here in this high perch. A lot of maps that allow for this kind of gameplay loop. It's really hard to break. Need to overwhelm the Winston, but they always have the mobility to jump on out and take a safer position and get topped back up by their Ana. No Nano on board this time for Hanbei. Rallies, though, for both sides are going to be a factor. A pulse bomb from Zomba on Cinnabar's direction might be required, and it comes in. That's perfect. Just what the doctor ordered. Now no rally in play. There's a window here that can be exploited, but Zomba's taken down, perhaps an overextension in Peace's direction. Card's getting close, but Zeb's stuck with the Bayonne. There's now a Nano for Z's, though. They're looking towards the Diva in the backline, and there's nothing Hanbei can do. Zeb is supercharged and ready to rumble. The bowler shot connects onto Astro, and they're barely able to limp back into the spawn. Taken down now. It's on Ryan, stuck with the bolt on the cart, and now Natsuki wants to step up to try and peel the Tracer off the objective. Zeb also has a self-destruct, so that's a guaranteed remake opportunity in 99% of cases here. And Peace walks straight out into the firing line. Hanbei again back in this corner, handled by Zeb's self-destruct, and that should be Sakura getting over the line. A desperate switch over towards the Zarya, but Astro can't get the touch, and that's Sakura Esports wrapping up the series 3-0.
And it's that first opening pulse bomb that Zomba hits on the Cinnabar. She has the rally at that time and not able to use it while everybody's in like pretty good standing in terms of HP on the point to kind of keep everybody rolling. That forces like Astro to end up popping the Primal as we take a look at some of the stats.
No, dude, that's messed up.
17k damage from X, and that's a crazy amount of damage from her here. I mean, you kind of look at the rest of the lobby, nobody even close.
Yeah, and look, in fairness to Peace, I mean, they're on Hanzo a lot of the time, so not necessarily racking out the biggest damage numbers. Not against a diva composition anyway. Need to land those eliminations, but that constant Freya pressure that comes in, those damage numbers are really relevant when you're playing Winston and you're constantly getting chunked down over and over again. We talked about how hard it is for the Winston to even pressure the Freya at all. It's a nice comp switch up there for Sakura, but again, they get off to the races so quickly with that first checkpoint take. And even though it gets dicey towards the end, I think the Winston switch is nice for Team Z. It's not enough to ultimately hold them.
No, it was a good swap towards the end, and then we end up with kind of like an Ana Brig for everybody, where I think the Ana has pretty good synergy there with the Winston. It's just not able to kind of last long enough there on the objective towards the end. Astro kind of switches over to the Zarya, even to get out there, try and get a touch, keep things going. But Sakura, we were talking a little bit about it, right? You know, Team Z down in that like relegation zone. Sakura like just kind of sitting outside of it, but obviously a step above the teams, you know, kind of in that area where Sakura is looking to make some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like this. Again, we're asking the same question of this team, Ash, as we have been throughout this stage, is can Sakura punch up? We know they can handle their half of this group, but that's not an issue. And now they've obviously bought themselves with I think they moved into briefly into third place here, with Nightmare still needing to play another game, which is great. Playoffs are definitely on the cards for them. We need to see them take a big leap upward against these top teams in NA.
We definitely will. I think it was a good start for the end of the regular season at the very least here for Sakura, considering how comfortable this win did look for them. It was great to see that bite back from Team Z, that is for certain, in that first half of Gibraltar. The adjustments coming out from Sakura a little bit later than anticipated. But Matt, those adjustments are something that they have to be a little bit more snappier with if they do want to be able to compete with the best of the best in NA.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously heard on King's Row the kind of listening in terms of just I think for Team Z, just kind of like the overall vibe where like they were kind of getting punished in certain situations, and I think they adjusted there on King's Row a little bit to try and match it, but really the adjustments came through on Gibraltar, where I think they look obviously pretty good on their offensive side. It's just it seems like a little bit too late for Team Z, where like at moments they looked close, but then at moments like there was like a pretty large gap between these teams.
I just, it's interesting actually to see so much of the series played without any of the Wu Young at all. And I think you know, when you play that Ana Wu Young, you're really trying to invest in an individual to carry the sort of the upside of those ultimates, right? It can be tough sometimes without, you know, putting the title blast on the Tracer to get some serious value out of it. And a lot of teams have sort of figured out how to play around it. But what I like from Team Z, I think, you know, the substitution in a Peace was good. I mean, you know, Peace had to deal with a lot of pressure from Tracer, for example. I think that could be quite challenging, especially the Tracer Diva, you know, double dive. And the underplay from Hanbei was really solid. I would have liked to see Peace's Genji. I would have liked to have actually seen a Protect ban, you know, come out from Team Z if they're, you know, going to sub a player in for that purpose. But that might never have actually been the plan. But seeing them maybe play more dive from the outset might have, you know, just, I don't know, changed the texture of this game a little bit.
Yeah, I think that I definitely agree with what you're saying there, Uber, but the Hanzo was still looking good for the size of Team Z, and Sakura did take a minute to adjust to that. Overall, though, a clean series here to come out from Sakura, and that leaves them just with one more match left there in Week 6 up against Team Liquid. And I am looking forward to being able to talk through Zay for this interview as well, just in a moment. But overall, I guess now, I feel like for Sakura, you've got to have your eyes further into playoffs and trying to kind of get ready for how much tougher the competition's about to get, because they did have that top heavy initial schedule here, Matt, and that's going to be how things are going to, I guess, continue forward as we take a look at standings.
Yeah, I think to Mitch's point, they're probably going to go in a fourth. Yeah, so they're going to go in a fourth, past Nightmare for the time being. Nightmare, we'll see them play tomorrow against Team Z, but yeah, look, one more game remaining, right, against Team Liquid. Still, obviously, I think this team is going to be in playoffs. I think for them, Ash, it's like, all right, how do you craft a path to victory against one of those top teams? Because like, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be squaring off against one of them early on, right? So it's like, how do you kind of manufacture a win or come up with a strategy, right? Like, I know potentially like there's like, you know, like let's say a balance patch coming through soon, right? You can kind of craft some of the adjustments after that to kind of like work out in your favor. And I think, look, if you play Team Liquid next week, you kind of use that entire game as a little bit of a learning experience, like especially if there's a world in which you can play them again, right? There's a world in which you kind of play Team Liquid and then you turn around in the first round of your playoffs and you play Team Liquid again. So there's a world in which you can kind of take some learnings from that, see kind of like what you want to do in terms of maps, what felt good, what felt poor, and build on that for the playoff.
Yeah, definitely a lot of learning opportunity here for Team Sakura, but for now they also have to take the win in stride here for Week 5 and try to carry that momentum forward as well. I mean, when you do also look at the standings here, yes, Team Z, they are down in that 7th place slot at the moment, but it's not like the fight for those potential last 2 spots are completely over either. I think that it is difficult though, because like you've said, Uber, there is such like a hard cutoff, it feels like at skill level down at the bottom.
I do
there.
wonder now, like after like from 6, 7, 8, like obviously Dilducks are they're a force of nature, they're of their own, like who knows what we're going to get from them. But I think that in the last round or the last week of this stage, the match between Extinction and Team Z is going to decide probably which of those 2 teams get relegated and which of them actually has a chance to play some post-stage OWCS. And there's a lot riding on that kind of game. I think what we've seen from Team Z, you know, again with some extra, DPS players in this roster, being able to rotate them, you want to see them put themselves in a position to succeed. And I think going into King's Row without having a Reaper option is a bit of an oversight. That's definitely something they want to avoid going forward, and make sure that they're ready for anything, any contingency when they come into these maps. They do need a lot of coverage of these DPS picks, especially to try and answer like these Zarya comps. Maybe we're in NA. We have Infected and Kufra in this region. Yeah. We're talking Ball, we're talking Winston, we're talking Infected plays kind of everything. So, giving yourself as much agency to answer the wide range of comps that we might see in the postseason is really important.
Yeah, I pulled up.
Yeah, definitely will be.
The Dilducks. I mean, I don't know who did the Dilducks piss off. I mean, they got to play GK and Team Liquid. I mean, that's a tough way to end the stage.
Everyone plays everyone, bro. What do you mean who they piss off? I mean,
hey, they would have to play them no matter what at a certain point. Like, I don't know what you really want for them.
You have 0 maps and you haven't had to play those two teams yet. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't.
Hey, it's tough. Not everyone can have as comfortable as a run as GK have. That's for certain. But unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to have that interview with